Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel and Merry Christmas, everybody. We finally made it the big day. Merry Christmas to everyone out there. And no reviews or any unboxings or anything like that for the 25 days of Christmas today. We are going to do 25 days of Christmas, but it's going to be a short video. I just wanted to share with you guys, and I want you guys to leave comments down below for me. What are some of your memories? I've gone back and I've really thought about how things were back in the day. I use that term a lot, back in the day. And I think about, especially back, I'm a late 70s, born in 1978. And, throughout the 80s, I'm an 80s kid. And, I remember like those Christmas memories, of waking up and just like finding some really awesome things under the tree. And as I get older, it's also now it's spending time with family, and it's about reminiscing about those great times back in the 80s. I remember, as a kid growing up, my grandparents would come over later in the day. If we didn't have like a big party going on, they'd come later in the day. And of course, it was always a big thing for both sets of grandparents. I had to break out, everything that I got and have to show them, it was a good chance to show off everything that I got for Christmas. And, as I got older and everything, my sister was 20 years younger than me. So, you know, I was already to that point when at that, and she had to do the same thing when she was little, having to go ahead and show everything off to the grandparents. It was now it was both of us having to show everything we got. My parents showed their things that they got as well to the grandparents, and it just seemed like a simpler time. Like those were just fun times. With the bigger parties when we had the aunts and uncles come over and the cousins, it was just so much fun. And recently, maybe like about a month or so, a month or two ago, my aunt and uncle were having like an Oktoberfest at their house, and they had a video. There was an old video that they found, VHS tape. They popped it in, and I think it was like Christmas from like 1987. And it's crazy like to look at it and see everybody, young. My grandparents still around, and I just remember those Christmas. I remember like those Christmas memories. And again, the great presents waking up. I remember, you know, those times when, at the beginning of September, late August, early September, you get those Sears and J.C. Penney catalogs, start circling all the things you want Santa to bring you. And yeah, I was getting like Transformers and Bionic Six. One year I know I got like Bionic Six, like the entire set of Bionic Six figures. Visionaries. I just remember all that stuff. Thundercats. Oh, the list just goes on and on and on. And I wish I could have like, I wish there was like a thing like a time machine to be able to go back and share those, see those, have revisit those kind of things again, and experience all that all over again. I mentioned to my daughter, my oldest, she's a big Toys R Us fan. Toys R Us not around here really anymore in the states, except for like small, like in the Macy's stores, some little pop up stores, coming back. But I mentioned to her, I'm like, Al, it'd be great if I had like a time machine. She's like, yeah, we'd go to Toys R Us. And oh, that just warms my heart knowing, my 19-year-old is wanting to go to Toys R Us with her old man, like 80s Toys R Us. She even said like Transformers. Oh, that just brings a smile to my face. But it just, this time of year always gets me really thinking about it. And just thinking about these old videos, and today, we popped in some old VHS tapes that we found, from when I was little, and when my sister was little, and my grandparents still being around. And really, at the time, I remember when I was younger, I kept thinking at the time, like, why does my dad keep recording these things all the time, every year, like, oh, don't videotape me, dad, I don't want to be on camera. But you know what, I'm so thankful now that he did, that he still does, that he's still recording these things every single year. And I think that's an amazing thing. And I didn't think about it back then, but I see it now as I get older, and I'm glad that those memories are there on tape to watch. Like I said, my dad's still putting things on VHS. He's still recording things with his camcorder, VHS camcorder. and I love having those memories still, and I appreciate it a lot more now. But like the memories, like I said about the J.C. Penney catalog, the Sears catalog, is that was like, oh, such an amazing time to be a kid when those magazines would show up. I remember being at my grandparents' house when they would show up, those catalogs, and just be like circling them and be like, Grandma, can I take these home with me, for a little bit so I can look at things? And oh, just an incredible, incredible time, guys. And, we really have to, as I'm still trying to get over being sick, it's been a while now, like almost 2 weeks. And my voice is, kind of cracking a little bit still, but I just wanted to share with you guys here on Christmas Day some great, great memories. And I want you guys to leave comments down below. Let me know. What are some of your favorite memories? What are some things you got back when you were kids? That you still think about now. And yeah, I just love it. It's a magical, magical time of year, guys. So once again, Merry Christmas to everybody out there, and I will catch you in another episode. Take care. Bye.